Thank you, Francesca and Medtop. My name is Dave Crane. It's a real honor to be spending time with you, especially after we've been through a pandemic and speaking events change quite dramatically. It's wonderful to be able to reach so many people just by going online. I've got a lot of things to share with you, so let's get straight into it. As we've mentioned, I'm Dave Crane, and you're probably thinking, who's Dave Crane? In fact, you probably Googled me and found a lot of stuff. And if you haven't done it, then let me explain to you who Dave Crane is, because then that will define exactly why it's important to do the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout today's presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've hosted over 1,000 events, and there's nothing more exciting or nerve-wracking than getting to introduce one of the best in the business. He's an award-winning international motivational speaker and coach. He's worked with celebrities like James Brown and Bruce Willis.
And I'm Jack Canfield.
And I'm Brian Tracy.
And I'm John Gray.
I'm Jared Robin.
And I'm Perry Marshall.
Hi, I'm George Regan.
To audiences of over 1 billion people. He's sharing how to become unstoppable in business. It's my honor to introduce to you Dave Crane.
Now that looks like I've got a massive ego. I promise you I haven't, but it's about branding. I want to share with you some ideas that will help you to become unstoppable in your business. And when you start looking at sustainability and you start looking at the impact that's going to be had on your industry, and is already happening with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT and everything else, you need to have an edge. You need to become unstoppable, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So feel free to make notes, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. Anyway, meanwhile, before we continue with this, let's have a look at the fact that you need to go from what's called imposter syndrome up to becoming an industry icon. What does that mean, Dave? Well, before we continue with that, let me give you a free gift. And this is it. So all you do for this is get your phone, hold it up to the QR code, put it on the camera so you can get a copy of it. And if you're unable to do that right now, or even press it with your finger, take a screenshot. I'm going to got a special gift for you. This is a top 10 strategies for you to be able to build your brand and fast track your career. It includes everything from how to master LinkedIn, how to be very effective when you go out and speak on stages, even if you've got fear of public speaking, how to grow your brand, and also how to have great relationships with people through networking. There's 10 strategies, and this is my special gift to you. Onwards and upwards of the content. So today I want to share with you how to make you unstoppable, empower you, create a brand new game to play in the work that you do, help you, as I mentioned, get over imposter syndrome, and also make you a great storyteller. Why is that important? Because business storytelling is the new martial art of getting things done, especially when you're working with people overseas. And then watch you becoming unstoppable, which is today's agenda. So the world is changing, but you have to change with it. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. So what does that mean? How do you do it? Well, let me share with you this. This is something that was brought up by the World Economic Forum, and it's the top skills of 2023. In there, they say analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, they're all soft skills. These are things that, apart from maybe quality control and technological literacy, are things that previously were kind of useful, but not so essential. But when we're talking about a world that's changed so dramatically and people are now able to do coding just by putting it into ChatGPT or any of the other AI projects and programs, you can find that people are being left behind. And the medical industry, healthcare, and so on is no exception to that. Now, here's the thing. AI and sustainability may be challenging because financially they're going to make a big difference to every organization, but there are also massive opportunities for you to reinvent and become even stronger and better at what you do. Have a look at this diagram. You may be aware of this. This is the Rogers curve for adoption. So what happens, and this is linked to AI, but it's true for any new thing that comes out, social media, everything else. So AI comes out. And initially, the innovators are 2% of the people really excited about it. Then the visionaries jump on, who start saying, you know what, we can do stuff with this. Not sure what, but we can do something. But then there's a gap before everybody else starts to catch up. We're still in that gap. Right now, those who do know, and those who don't know, don't really care. But then the early majority start jumping on, and that is kind of happening now, but not quite. And then the late majority. By the time that this happens, then the profit opportunities disappear. We're still in the early market. It's only been going effectively for about 6 months. That's why you need to jump on and start making changes now. If you don't consider like that, then you're going to miss out on major opportunities, which is why I'm making this conversation with you. Expect major changes, because the big organizations that are going to alter so dramatically, you already know that law and accounts in the health industry has been impacted. Also true for education, HR, marketing, that includes being a journalist as well, cybersecurity, fintech, infotech, and transport. Every single one of these will make changes, and we say that 80% of industries will change. And why? Well, the only ones that are going to be left behind are people who are doing stuff with their hands. For now, that's construction and landscape gardening. If you're in any other industry, you need to consider reskilling, and reskilling fast. So if 80% of businesses have to reinvent and they have to reskill, if they don't do it, they're going to end up having to retire. So you've got to raise your relevance, because if everybody's doing the same thing, it becomes a real challenge. Let me share with you an idea and a concept that you might not have come across before. The formula for being paid. The formula for being paid is this. You get paid for two things: the effect of the job that you do and how cheaply you can be replaced by everybody else. Now, if you're working in the medical industry, there's new technology that's coming along. There's 5 million doctors we need to recruit before we get to the point where everybody's got a doctor or access to a doctor that can help them, which should seem like a big problem, but that problem is going to be filled by filling it with AI. So for every single person who's watching me speak now, you are not safe. You need to think about how you can integrate AI and create a new relevance, so when people see the same everywhere, they go, yeah, but I'm really into this person. This person, their project, their company speaks to me and has helped me in the past. And that's why, forget the money. It's not about the money. They make me feel special. They give me the certainty that when I ask them a question, things get done. And that's what you've got to produce. So by adding AI right now, you've got to do simple things: optimizing your systems, enhancing your branding, boosting that expertise that you know and other people don't so they can see you, and then position yourself as a thought leader. If you're not doing that, then it's easy to do by adding AI. So what's going to change in healthcare? Let me share with you some ideas, because I think you'll find these incredibly relevant. I know a lot of it has been covered by the people who've been on the call so far, and I know that a lot of it will continue as the conversations go on. But these are the things that I predict are going to be really powerful. Enhanced diagnostics. People will be able to get access to any medical data straight away for being able to find out what's wrong faster. Personalized medicine. You won't just have to go in and buy it. You'll get exactly the treatment that you want based on your past history and your records. Telemedicine. AI chatbots looking after the challenges that you have, so you don't need to get to a proper doctor, which fills the gap of that 5 million doctors that we're looking for. Cost reduction. If all this is automated, then there's less that people need to pay and less that they will pay. You're not paying for an Uber, you're paying for an Uber, which means you're going to get a much more effective way of getting exactly where you need to be. You're not paying a taxi service that is going to charge you a crazy price. Drug discovery. The industry will go on a lot faster. As you know, it takes about $3 billion to launch a new product, a new drug that changes people's lives. Now this will be a lot faster because AI will go through the algorithms and the formulae and come up with better solutions, being able to cross-reference what's been done in the past. Precision surgery, you already know about the AI robots doing complex surgical procedures with greater accuracy than a person. They don't get tired and they're going to become higher and higher in demand. Then, of course, health. People will be better. Cancer is already something that we're managing to get rid of in many cases, and so people will live longer, but they're going to be more into how do we fix it from the very beginning to stop it occurring. Of course, AI will be able to do that. And then the patient experience. When you're a patient, you want convenience. Why do you think so many people have stopped going to restaurants and they just order in? Gets delivered fresh straight to their house. Well, that's what people are going to be doing in the future more and more with healthcare. So what does that mean? It means more Mental health care. It means easier to deal with people. People with mental health disorders will be able to be dealt with and looked after better. In many cases, it might be a chatbot that deals with them. It can talk to them like a friend. It understands where they're coming from. It remembers the conversations, and it'll be available 24 hours a day. Yes. And last but not least, clinical training. That means that when people want to become somebody in the medical industry, whether it's being a doctor or a nurse on the front line, or somebody who's working more behind the scenes, you can create better simulations for training them and getting them out there. So in the future, when you're talking the next year, 2 years, a pandemic will be dealt with much faster, much more easily by the worldwide medical industry, which will be closer linked with smarter thinking, no offense intended, because AI will be on your side. I also believe that what this means is a greater rise in self-diagnosis. People will look at their phone, look at their app, they'll look at whatever it is, robo-doctor, and they'll be able to get an instant readout of what their problems are. If it's a new thing that's occurred before, that's never occurred before, they'll be able to take a photo, send it through, get it analyzed, cross-referenced with their track record, and get a diagnosis or a tablet or something through the logistics industry sent to them straight away. Similarly, medical chatbots, that's going to be a huge thing. Get in there now. It has to replace you. I know it sounds terrible, but how many times as a doctor or a medical practitioner do you have conversations with people that didn't need to happen? And I know you say, well, they need that, but at the same time, nobody wants to sit coughing in a waiting room when they could be at home watching Netflix and just getting the medicine that they truly need straight away. Let's look at this. Call centers versus health centers. Call centers, even if it's run by AI and automatic voices, will make it a lot easier for people to be able to then get the medicine that they need. A health center is within your region, within your location, so you can get a taxi or drive to get to it. But if it's a universal call center where you've got people in any country or even online with a chatbot asking you what the problem is, diagnosing, cross-referencing, and sending you stuff, that means that location doesn't matter quite so much in the same way as online stores or even Amazon. And then you've got an AI assistant. Imagine your AI assistant is aware of your medical problems and wants to talk to you. Wait, hold on. I know when I'm saying AI assistant, you're thinking, what do you mean AI assistant? If you go into ChatGPT, if you haven't gone on yet, and you ask it to create an AI assistant that speaks to you like Madonna or Will Smith, or Barack Obama, or even Donald Trump, and then looks after you, asks about how you're doing, but answers you in a way of your favorite presenter, celebrity, whoever it is, it will do that for you. It'll already do that for you. If you use ChatGPT 4 or any of the higher level ones, then they'll remember the conversations we have. That will be turned into an app before you know it, but that makes a real difference because you will have an AI assistant, everybody will. And it'll be far more sophisticated than Siri or anything else. So where does that leave us? AI mental health care. I touched on it earlier. The idea that you will just be able to talk to your app and you'll be connected to the right kind of wisdom, the right kind of knowledge, and lots of solutions that'll make you feel better, which after a pandemic is needed. So if you're thinking, how do we put this together, Dave? How do we fix this? Don't worry, I have a smart plan. So we'll start right here. Well, to do this, we have to take a step backwards and ask the question, what does society value most? Here's the answer: status. Who you are, what you do, and how you can affect other people. That's what the biggest value is. To break it down, it comes into these 3 categories. So the categories are this: your dominance in your industry, your proven track record of success, and your virtue, which means how much you stick by what you say. So dominance would be in football, Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, great footballers, best in the sport. Success would be Elon Musk. In tech, there's very few people made as much money as he had or has over the period of time that he's been there. Does tend to give it away every now and again, but there we go. And virtue would be your Michelle Obama or the Pope, somebody who you know when they say they're going to do something, that's exactly what they do. Now, for the medical profession, it's so essential that you do look at the status. Now, you've done that very well before, but you have to defend that position even more by showing warmth when you show that you're the best in the industry, by positioning your expertise so people know that what you talk about really helped them, so they always come back to you time and time again. And also being sincere, saying whether you know or you don't know about something, so then people can act on that accordingly. And then creating a personal brand. Your personal brand is what others say about you when you leave a room. Now, every doctor previously has been able to turn around, every nurse who works under a doctor or works in the clinic is able to turn around and say, well, we've got the marketing out there. But the marketing will not mean quite so much. It's got to be personal marketing. People will be going to you as a patient or a client, and this is true for B2B as well, for many years because they trust you, because you sell certainty. Your personal brand is what people say when you're not there. That's what you have to cultivate, and that's what you have to grow. So there's a question, first of all. Who are you? Who are you? Now, if I'm speaking far too quickly for you, I apologize. But let me just share with you, I have lots of material online that you can catch as well. So you can go through that too. But let's get through this because we've got a short amount of time to share a lot with you. The question, who are you, or who am I, is what most people come across, or they don't need to understand, or they don't even know how to fix it. You are born in a lucky life lottery. In that life lottery, your location, your race, your affluence, your connections in life, your spiritual beliefs, your nationality, your gender preference, your physicality, your tradition, and also your existing influence are all preset for you. You're born, you pop up from your parents or a tube or whatever it's going to be doing by the time you watch this video, and you just get whatever the roll of the dice is. But that doesn't mean you have to stay there. You can change many of those things or reposition yourself through your brand. So imposter syndrome is a challenge that many people face. Who am I? What am I? And that little voice in your head that says, I'm not as good as I think I am. That's put there by parents who mean well, by teachers and schools that want you to be better. But often they just hold you back, especially going for a relationship or job interview or dealing with challenges in your life. So how do you deal with that? I'm going to show you that. If you've got any questions or comments, by the way, put them in and I will answer everything at the end of today's presentation. So what you have to do is create a version of yourself that has a huge impact. So how do you do that? Three things, there we go, 3 things. First thing is when you're born, your birth certificate has your name on. Everyone has the same, not the same name. My name is David Maxwell Crane. There's me, my dad, and my mom. I'm the little cushion with a face on the front of it. So David Maxwell Crane then had to create his life. And that's your social media version of you. What name do you put in your social media? For me, David Maxwell Crane became Dave Crane. So as you see Dave Crane, that's me, with my wife Aziza and my daughter Maya. Dave Crane is pretty good at what he does. Google me if you haven't already and you'll find out. But the big problem for me was when it came to the end of the pandemic, having had 2 years of no real work coming through, because as a speaker and a trainer, traveling and hosting around the world, when the gigs came back again, I wasn't ready. And as a hypnotherapist, I had to work out, what is it, Dave, as a life coach, what is it would you suggest to yourself that you can get you back up to speed? Now, here's the thing. When it comes down to being me, what I do better than anything is when I've got a microphone and a live audience, and I've got, say, at the Rugby Sevens, I'd have 2,000 to 50,000 people watching me plus TV. I'm very good at making snap decisions, like a surgeon. I can work out what the sponsors need, what the audience is going to need, what's going to be the end result, and how we get from A to B very quickly. By tagging the Wi-Fi code of the audience, I'm working out and making that right decision. So I realized there was a third version of me. Third version of me is your power name. That's your superhero version of you. What does that mean, Dave? Well, let me put this in perspective. And remember, this is about how you get over imposter syndrome, just in case you want to grow your brand. Now you're thinking, yeah, but what if it goes wrong? My power name is simple. I gave a name to the version of me that grabs a microphone and gets stuff done. That's Max. So with Max, I tested. I had to ask Max questions, and whatever answer popped up in my head, I had to do. I didn't want to kill Max by saying, right, I'm not listening to you anymore. So I had clients that wouldn't come back to me. I asked Max, what should I do? And Max said, give them 24 to 48 hours, and if they don't come back, just stop working with them. They've missed their opportunity. And I thought, well, I can't do that. That's going to be terrible. What if I lose the client? But I went with it anyway, and it was right. If they don't get back to you, it's going to be harder and harder to close them. Those who get it do get it. But the energy and the time that you spend could be better spent finding somebody else. So find your superhero name. It might be the name you used at school or a nickname, but that version of you is very powerful. Cultivate it and move forward. As an example of that, think about James Bond being around the best part of 50 years, but every couple of films, they change James Bond. Why? Because you've got a different audience, a different time, a different need for what James Bond's got to provide. You've got to do the same for yourself, and therefore for your clients. So what makes a truly great leader, thought leader, doctor, creator of technology? I believe it's this: always asking better questions, and as a result, when people then work with you, always giving better answers. So how should you give those great answers? Here's what I think. Effective communication is the bottom line. I know that you're already talking about new tech. I know that you're creating great new medicines and great ways of doing stuff, but effective communication has always been at the heart of it. Think of the placebo effect, that ability to tell a patient that they're going to be okay in 7 days. Even if you give them Tic Tacs or Polo Mints, you're still going to find that 50% feel better because you've told them that. Now imagine using business stories, because when you're talking to your customers, the more you can give them an example, the more it works. Why are business stories so important? Why should I focus on this? Because when you look under a CAT scan, when you give facts or figures, about 2 parts of your brain light up. When you tell a story, do you remember the fairy tale stories you were told as a kid? About 7 different parts of your brain light up, which means you also retain them. If I was to ask you about Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, or Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, or anything like that, you'll remember the story, or at least part of it, because it's stuck in your head, even though you might not have heard of it for many, many years, because the ways that it affected you emotionally made you want to retain them. So when it comes to your customers, you've got to work out who your target customer is. I know on this call there's lots of different people from different places. That's fine. Your actual customers are different. Who are they? Work them out. Then ask what's in it for them. Forget what you want. It doesn't matter what you want. It only matters what they want, and that's what you've got to concentrate on getting. If you constantly deliver what they want, you've got a great relationship. And by the way, this also affects you when you're talking about your partner, about our partners, your children, your colleagues, your friends, everybody. Ask what's in it for them, deliver it, and they'll love you forever. So what's in it for them? Well, here's a simple truth. When you start looking at this for clients, there's a situation that comes along, and it's true for definite if you're a doctor. People say, what's my headache? Who can fix it? Are they the best fit for it? And is my headache going to be fixed if I go with them? If the answer is yes, then they're sold. They'll buy it. Now, this is true in every industry, but no more than in the healthcare industry. That's what people think. And that's what you've got to also respect when you do your things. It doesn't have to be shiny. It just has to fix the problem. So why should people want to work with you? Why should your clients want to work with you? That's why you've got to create this great relationship with them. You've got to tell really effective stories. So epic and persuasive storytelling is a new battleground in every industry. And I know you're thinking, yes, but this is meant to be about healthcare, Dave. Why should that matter? Because AI is going to replace best part of 50% in every industry. We've already talked about the difference it's making in healthcare. But if you position yourself and tell not just your clients, but also the whole world great stories, you will be remembered because people know you're the person who's got great examples, and they don't even have to be about stuff that you've done. So let's give you a crash course in that. I'd like you to know Hollywood's best kept secret. Make a note of this, because the next time you go to the cinema, or you watch Netflix, or you download a movie, it will make sense. What's Hollywood's best kept secret? It's this: the hero's journey. Let me take you on a ride of a hero's journey very quickly. So you start off with a character, a hero, who's in the ordinary world and kind of good at doing what they think. But they're also a bit geeky and nerdy, so people sort of take the mickey out of them a little bit. Then something comes along, a call to adventure. That challenge is, it could be aliens invaded. It could be that they want to take the girl of their dreams to the promenade. It could be they play football and they keep missing penalties and they just want to get over that. But they refuse to step up, they refuse to fix it until the mentor comes along. Typically played by Kevin Costner or Morgan Freeman, or in this case talking to you, that's me. And the mentor takes them on a journey. And to do that journey, they have to cross the threshold to go to a new world, a strange world, a special world where they feel completely uncomfortable. And as they're in that special world, they get tested. They make new friends and make new enemies. They do things that work, things that don't work, but they continue going on and they start having an incredible learning curve that takes them up and down. And then they have the ordeal, the big challenge that was there before. The aliens are outside their house. It's prom night, or they've got a penalty in the last minute of the game. They've got to take it. If they win, they win. If they lose, the whole game is lost. So then they go to do the thing. They go to win, and something happens. Usually somebody dies. Sometimes it's them. Sometimes they find out that a loved one has passed, or in fact they go on, they give it their best shot, and everything falls to bits. So they're on the way for the road back. You're thinking, oh, well, not to worry about it. But then they resurrect themselves, and they find an inner power that gets them back up to a higher level, like a boost. And then they defeat the enemy. And then they've got the choice of returning home with the elixir or the gift or the whatever it is. Sometimes they don't go home. Sometimes they go off into the sunset and start a new adventure. Which movie am I talking about? Put it into the chat. I'm going to put you out of your misery. I'm talking about 99% of Hollywood movies. I'm serious. Think about the actual way that they put it. So in this context, let's think about which character are you? And I know which character you're thinking about. You're thinking, well, I'm the hero. I'm on a journey. I'm on an adventure. I've got a challenge. I'm dealing with this and all the rest of it. No, 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 no. Let me tell you who you are. You're the mentor. Think about it. You're there to advise and help others. That positions you as an expert. Your clients, your patient, your customer, they're the hero. You're the expert that helps them on their journey. Now, every great hero has a core wound. Your clients have a core wound. Once you've got that and you understand what it is, your job is to go through and fix it with every step that you take. Now, I can spend a lot of time talking about people who've got core wounds. These are all some of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Every single one of them will tell you the challenges that they've been through and how they have to fight it. In fact, many of the Hollywood stars are amongst the most insecure you'll ever come across. For me, I had a massive imposter syndrome. Being the only black kid growing up in Scotland, never moving to England, never ever been selected by my own talents. I had to fight extra hard and maybe I'll get on the team. That's something that's haunted me my entire life and it's been very challenging to deal with. You'll have your own core wound and so will your clients. But let's have a look at how that fits in. Now, I won't go through this in too much depth because we don't have the time to do it, but I've got 6 movies here. Harry Potter, Star Wars, The Matrix, Spider-Man, Lion King, and Lord of the Rings. Every single one of them has the same thing that happens at different stages. It's all been written by templates. I could go through and pick any example, but it's the same thing. For you, when you talk to your clients, set the scene. Introduce them as a hero. What's their core wound? Set up a challenge. What are you worried about? Be the mentor. I've got a solution for you. Tell them about something that's happened recently. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to fix it. Tell them about things that have happened in the past where things had gone wrong for somebody, but you'd managed to overcome that just in case they're wondering what if something goes wrong. And then tell them once you've fixed it, how the person lived happily ever after. That's basic storytelling. It works everywhere and it works especially well in business. So how do you implement it? This is what you do. You ask 100 of the toughest questions that you ever need to ask of yourself, what your clients will say, what they need to know, all those things, and write out an answer or a case study that's got real people in it that you can share with your customers so they can turn around and say, I get it. And every time you've got a customer or a client or a friend or a patient or whoever you deal with, B2B, B2C, anybody, select the story with the right ending and share that with them. They will love it. It will change their lives and really improve everything. Then assign that case study for every single client and make it matter. Turn it into a story. Well, I hope this has helped. I look forward to sharing stuff with you in the future. Every single client, every single patient, every single person you work with should have a tailor-made avatar. And then you rinse and repeat it. And that positions you when you put it on social media and the word of mouth that goes into what you do. People will talk about how you're such an expert at what you do. My story is very simple. Give me an extra 5 minutes. Let me take you on my journey so you understand exactly what that means. So we've already talked about me. Have you ever been so lost that you stopped believing in yourself? Well, that was me. Imposter syndrome. My entire life was that. I moved to Dubai 30 years ago because I couldn't get the breaks I wanted. And then my philosophy is jump and grow wings on the way down. Why should that matter? Because that's what I've done my entire life. You need a signature phrase as well. And it might be on your logo, it might be on your branding, but whatever it is, that's what you have to live by because the right people will identify with it too. So what does that mean? Well, I've always been the imposter. That was me during my Harry Potter days at secondary school, not really at Hogwarts. But then I went on to do incredible things, hosting the biggest events on the planet, and did the rugby sevens there for 20 years. And so as that continued, I got to work with major stars. In fact, a very quick glimpse of the things that I've done will share with you exactly what that means. This is me at my peak. So I became unstoppable in what I do, which is great. Travel around the world, hosting big events, working with big celebrities. And then the pandemic came along, wiped out my business 100%. My wife as a wedding photographer, same thing. No audiences, no groups for 2 years, but the same bills. Now that's challenging enough as it is. But when you're living in Dubai, well, what do you do then? So there I was with my family, we're living as we do, making sure that people still connect with us. I did 200 live shows online during those 2 years. And then an opportunity came along. This opportunity was the ICC World Cup Cricket, T20. And they said, Dave, we hear you're good at stuff. What about cricket? Now, the truth is, I know nothing about cricket. I do now. I went on, I threw myself in at the deep end, and I was hosting some of the biggest cricket events in the world with over 200 million people watching worldwide every single time. So I did my very first event, and it's very exciting. Have a look at this. This is what it looks like when you do a cricket event. So you get the general idea. So that was my first day working and I got through it and it was okay. But then at 4:30 a.m., October 21st, 2021, I got a phone call in the morning. My wife said to me, "That's a house phone, isn't it?" I went, "I don't know." So I picked it up and it was a doctor, maybe like you, in fact, you might even be on the call, saying, "Is that Dave Crane?" "Yeah." "This is a doctor from St. Mary's Hospital in Leeds. Your dad's got COVID and he's not going to make it. What do you do?" Now, I know that you've had to be in that situation and I bless you for having to deal with the pandemic, and you guys are unsung heroes and you should get paid much more for what you do because you're an incredible group of people. I'm really privileged to be here. But what did I do? Well, I had to make a phone call. I had to ring everybody I knew in the UK because I'm based in Dubai, thousands and thousands of miles away. I said, "Dad's not going to make it. Get to the airport or get to the hospital or get to wherever you need to. Go and see Dad." Luckily, we jumped on a Zoom call. I got to say goodbye to him for an hour. And then after that, he was gone. But I had to get back into work. My wife said to me, "Don't go back into work. Leave it a couple of days." So I left it a couple of days. And then I went back in and did another 8 games. My dad, of course, was gone by then. So what does that mean? Whatever you're going through, whatever challenges you have, I'd love for you to put life lessons in the chat here or save it for the questions. I got back in because I had to do it. I had to look after my family. And so here's the life lesson I want to share with you as part of my story. Here's the thought. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do next. What I did next was I created the Industry Icon program. This helps decision makers to become big hitters around the world. It's a way of growing your brand and having you to connect with people. I was never going to be alone the way I'd been for 2 years. I wanted to have a network of people who are much stronger and better, who I can help to coach as a mentor. But the industry outcome program allowed me to fix that. So what are you going to do? How are you going to move forward? What's your big challenge and how are you going to fix it? Work out the story. You are now the mentor. And as I promised, now you're also unstoppable. So with that being said, differentiate, publish yourself like a guru. As you do all this, get yourself up there and out there, over deliver and humanize who you are. Build your network like I did and in fact, don't tell anyone yet, tell everybody who you are. Position yourself as the very best in what you do. And remember, when you connect with AI plus human, you'll beat all the people who aren't using it, just like Jarvis and Iron Man. Learn prompt engineering, it's coding. For anybody who's used NLP or hypnosis or being able to talk to people as a counselor, it's just like that, but to a machine. Build your brand and AI together and punch upwards daily. If you haven't got a brand, then this is how you do it. And incredible successes will come to you as a direct result. I want to leave you with this. Watch your thoughts. They become words. Watch your words. They become actions. Watch your actions. They become habits. And watch your habits. They become character. But watch your character because it becomes your destiny. This is from Lao Tzu. Whatever you think is going to be your legacy. So think differently, think better, and also believe in yourself. Jump and grow wings on the way down. Now, I did promise as a free gift to you, take a screenshot of this or connect with me anywhere, and this is how you begin your own journey. I promised to take you for this journey with everything, and I really mean that I could, and I did. So I hope this works for you. I'm around for a few questions, by the way. Thank you for your time. It's been an utter pleasure. I hope you got something out of this. If you have, my name is Dave Crane. If you haven't, my name is still Dave Crane, but it's not about me, it's about you. I look forward to working with you again in the future. Meanwhile, have an amazing event, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you. Hi, I'm Dave Crane, an ex-BBC journalist